Yoki dokie. What's up, YouTubers? This, once again, is your guy, Mr. Evaluator. Okay, so I was pretty much gonna do another big old clash in between Marvel and DC, but I kind of got stopped in my tracks, by some YouTubers that pretty much don't understand the DC universe, okay? And pretty much don't know the meaning on the purpose behind it, okay, or any other characters. So, for those of you who don't understand, I'm going to pretty much explain to you who are these guys, okay? I'm just going to really break it down in detail. Ouch, that hurt it. I'm going to really seriously break this down in detail so that you guys can have a full clear understanding. What does it really actually mean to be a cosmic being, or possibly having, unlimited amount of powers? Okay, so I'm going to start off with this. Okay, so according to the DC Comics, Spectre is, well, you got a whole bunch of people that became the Spectre. Spectre is pretty much just a regular person who pretty much dies in the DC universe, and you know they their soul chooses to bond with the how to say this, bond with the cosmic laws of the universe. I mean, because that's what it pretty much means to be a specter. So I'm just going to give you word from word. So there's a guy named Jim Boros, if I may say his name right. He came to see his fiance, and come to find out his fiance died, and a bunch of thugs came, jumped on him, beat him up, put him in a barrel, filled it up with concrete, and rolled it in the ocean, and he died. Okay, so now um, it came to where his soul went to a place to seek for vengeance. So pretty much like Scorpion, he became a spirit of vengeance, and the entire DC universe, being a balance in between chaos and order, his spirit was full of vengeance, and uh, it looked to hunt the people that pretty much murdered his wife and killed him. So uh, it gave him, so pretty much becoming a spirit of vengeance, it pretty much gave him the power to become the specter. And so in this scenario, uh, he has, having those powers basically gave him the limitless abilities to pretty much do anything he wants. Okay, but as far as, he literally became the spirit of vengeance, actually becoming the specter. And even in the 2019 2020 arrowverse, you know uh Oliver Quentin sacrificed himself, and to save, I forgot whatever Earth number that was, but in the Arrowverse, he, you know, sacrificed himself and he died. And so um, he went to a realm and became the Spectre, you know. Well, I don't know which version they're talking about, but this specific Spectre is a spirit of vengeance, okay? Vengeance and fate. Um, well, yeah, just vengeance and fate. So those, it's pretty much, Spectre is almost like the wrath of the god. So anywho, so this guy can pretty much do anything he wants with that amount of power, and having this power, he's literally omnipotent. So being bonded with the spirit of vengeance, this guy pretty much rains wrath upon those that feast upon the innocents, take the lives of the innocents. So pretty much that's what it became from then on. And pretty much he could do anything he wants. So with that being said, uh, don't want to lose my train of thought. Um, So with that being said, after Arrow sacrifice became the Spectre to have enough power to beat the Anti-Monitor, okay, the Arrowverse. Okay, so in actuality, the Spectre is almost like a demon that pretty much, this is what I'm saying, a demon that reigns on the wicked and the people that slay the lives of the innocent beings, not just on one earth, but on infinite earths and, you know, throughout the six planes of reality. So, in actuality, there's only one Spectre, okay, throughout the whole DC universe, or else there may be more than one otherwise. But, however, um, scaling uh, their power was pretty much, a it's like scaling their power goes to a limit um, about being the spectre. So, being the spirit of vengeance to reign upon the wicked and the people that, just kill people just for the heck of it. This is the purpose of having this, becoming the spectre. This is the whole sole purpose of becoming the spectre. It may be more than that, but as far as I read, this is what it seems according to the DC Comics, the spirit of vengeance. Now, for those of you who don't know, Phantom Stranger is fate himself. Okay, he too is another cosmic entity, but is bound by the cosmic laws of the DC universe. Okay, and these laws are the balance of chaos and order, which is on the outside of the concept of DC. Literally, it's outside of the DC's creation. It's not, he's not on the ideal of the creation of the DC. He's not only within creation of the DC, but he is on the concept of the creation of DC, which is on the outside of the DC universe. So he is in between both chaos and order. This even explains why he did what he did with Trigon. Presence literally, you know, begged or told or however, he told Stranger to go to the Trigon and possibly give him a message. Okay, let him know that you guys got to keep the balance throughout the DC universe. And after all that, Trigon came back to him and said, when I come back with my daughter, I'm going to take over the world. And he knew that Phantom Stranger knew he couldn't do anything about it because he's bound by the balance of chaos and order. So is Dr. Fate. But clearly, Dr. Fate is more on a higher form than Phantom Stranger. Um, okay, let's give it a highball. Let's just say Phantom Stranger is way stronger than Dr. Fate. And in case for those YouTubers say, oh, Dr. Fate got beat by Phantom Stranger, all he did was spit on him and took him out. So let's just say that, you know, Phantom Stranger is stronger than Dr. Fate. Okay? Um, Being this powerful, he is kind of clearly bound by these laws to restore balance throughout the entire DC universe. And pretty much in this cartoon, Batman Brave and the Bold, you basically see that Phantom Stranger and Spectre actually, Spectre gives Batman a way to revenge what happened to his family. Okay, well, to at least his mother and his father. And Phantom Stranger is only, trying to tell him what will happen after he seeks vengeance. What do you want to become? And in this basically, in this show, Phantom Stranger and Spectre literally actually show Bruce Wayne his future. I mean, if he's not a cosmic entity that can allow Bruce Wayne to literally see himself and what he will actually become if he choose either way. I mean, because, from this, if Batman killed the murderer of his, if Bruce Wayne killed the murderer of his parents, if he killed the murderer of his parents, you know, the Batman dies. And Phantom Stranger was letting Bruce Wayne know, hey, the Batman doesn't need to die. You got to make a wise decision. And as you could clearly see, Phantom Stranger and Spectre clearly don't have no control over Batman. They can't make Batman do anything. So this pretty much goes all the way back to the present and the DC universe having free will. Yes, everybody in the DC universe has a free will. They do what they want, but it's balanced out throughout the whole DCU. So if Batman does kill the murderer of, if he did kill the murderer of his parents, then the Batman would die and he will then become a murderer. Okay, and pretty much in that case, he'll either be chaos. But Batman, Superman, and the entire Justice League is pretty much the good and the order of the infinite reality in the DC, well, not infinite reality, infinite Earths of the DC universe. Then you have some, which means the League of Doom, the villains are the chaos part of the universe. So if there's more good than there's chaos, then there must be a balance stored in between. So in actuality, the real question is Spectre and and Spectre and Phantom Stranger omnipotent? Well, yes, they are. And before you jump out of your chair and slam your head against the wall, let me explain. Now, again, as I said in the first video before, there are layers to omnipotence. According to the DC universe, if one person is omnipotent, right, if he's pretty much omnipotent, right? So if he's pretty much omnipotent, he goes to a scale of power of omnipotence. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean he's omnipotent and he has unlimited power in all forms. As I said to you before in the beginning, if this was so, then looking at Midoriya, My Hero Academia, One for All has the power that Midoriya possesses is infinite. Okay? His power is infinite, but the his physical body, his body is limited to that infinite amount of power. And so is All Might. So as of right now, All Might and Midoriya has infinite power. Okay? But their body is limited. So if he wants to be planetary, okay, then infinitely on a scale of having unlimited power, he will pretty much be planetary. Okay, so a cosmic entity that is omnipotent, according to the DC universe, there's layers. Some cosmic entities will go from planetary of having unlimited power to infinite Earths, infinite planets, infinite solar systems, infinite galaxies, and infinite universes, which is pretty much the entire infinite macroverse that pretty much holds only six planes of reality. And each of these realities is is balanced by chaos and order. So in this case, looking to your left, Spectre will be the chaos, seeking the spirit of vengeance. And in this case, Phantom Stranger will be order. Okay? But in this case, Bruce Wayne is free will. So having free will is you do whatever you want, but there's repercussions to what you do. And repercussions are made. The decisions are made outside of creation of the DC universe because there is balance, there's chaos and order. If he killed his parents' murderer, he will be the chaos. If he let his parents' murderer live, he will be the order in the DC universe. It doesn't mean, like, pretty much, I'm not saying that Batman is omnipotent. What I'm saying is that whatever decision he made, that's the balance of the DC universe, okay? So if anything goes unbalanced, then that reality is going to be destroyed and another reality is going to be put to restore that balance of the entire DC universe. And this thing is on the outside of existence. Like it barely even exists. It's outside of creation, far outside of creation, further than Pennywise could ever go. And the crazy thing about this is that Pennywise is his own foundation. Pennywise is literally his own foundation, but though living on infinite layers and infinite layers of darkness, according to the Stephen King universe, he has infinite realities, and these realities aren't balanced. These are just random realities that's infinite. And it kind of makes DC, the entire DC universe, the foundation of the DC universe will be a lot further. This thing that balanced the DC universe, chaos and order, is way past, is way past Pennywise. Because when you actually look at it, this whole concept is out of the hands of the authors. About the balance of the DC universe is out of the hands of the authors. Yes, until the authors can kind of clearly make it, if they change the whole story and say, okay, they can have infinite realities, they don't need a balance, then pretty much years of writing all the DC comics having this balance throughout the universe will pretty much change and possibly even destroy every character in the universe. So, as even confirmed by the as even confirmed by some of the writers in the DC universe, that there has to be this balance, and this balance is pretty much based on well, it's pretty much based on the reality that is lived through the DC universe. This is why you have chaos and order. This is why you pretty much have, you know, good and evil, because it is the balance, the DC universe, and good and evil creates the reality. So if you really honestly look at it, good and evil, chaos and order is the foundation of the entire DC universe. And the concept of chaos and order, the concept of good and evil, is far beyond the concept of the authors. So that clearly makes this branch that balanced the entire DC universe way further than Pennywise. It's past infinite. It's past infinity. It's not an infinity. Like, even though that infinity goes on forever and ever and ever, in actuality, if you circle, okay, real world logic, if you draw a circle on the ground, right? It's a circle. In actuality, that circle infinitely repeats itself. Infinitely. But this, in the DC universe, is balanced by chaos and order. And it seemed like it should be repetitive, but it's not. Whenever there's more good than evil, then balance is restored to be good and evil. So this concept that balanced the entire DC universe is beyond infinity, dude. It's beyond infinity. It's almost like the purpose of the DC universe. It's the purpose, it's the meaning, it's the reason for the DC universe. But I'm just gonna go ahead and get to the point. So, like I said, that omnipotence, having unlimited power, goes from, you know, infinite planets, destroying infinite planets, having unlimited power, and, pretty much destroying infinite galaxies at having unlimited power, and infinite universes, which will probably be a macroverse, okay? Which is a macroverse at that scale of power. So, according to the DC Comics, it says that Phantom Stranger is infinitely below the presence and other higher beings of unlimited power, of omnipotence. Okay? So that means it doesn't mean that Phantom Stranger is not omnipotent. That clearly means that Phantom Stranger is omnipotent because he is on a lower level of omnipotence. As I said from the beginning, Phantom Stranger is bound by cosmic laws. His whole sole purpose, unlike the Spectre, is not to seek vengeance but to store balance. It's almost like that Phantom Stranger is the reason for the DC universe. I'm not talking about, oh, he's the reason for the, DC universe that have meaning. No, the concept of reasoning, that is that the concept of reasoning is Phantom Stranger. And in between chaos and order is reason. So when you have reason, there's a balance. There's a reason that chaos and order must be balanced throughout the DC universe. There's a reason because this balance this balance makes up the reality and makes up the universe, the omniverse of the DC universe. And Phantom Stranger, in between chaos and order, is reason. So, in case you might wondering, well, Mr. Evaluator, how come Spectre isn't between chaos and order? Again, Spectre is a spirit of vengeance, right? As I said, that Spectre is chaos, okay? So, pretty much like the Joker. Let's just say, as much as Joker's done and he's ever did, I mean, we have infinite Earths, okay? So there's infinite Jokers, okay? And having infinite Jokers, even if it was from different timelines, infinite Jokers infinite is infinite chaos. So in this case, if you were a innocent and you were killed, pretty much it's almost like that spirit of vengeance will show you your fate. You have a free will. You could do whatever you want to do. But in actuality, if Joker killed Jason Todd, or he possibly, well, pretty much like that, killed Damian Wayne, then that will be the chaos in the entire universe, okay, throughout that plane of reality. And so, having that plane of reality that is stored by chaos and order, order must be bestowed between them. So, this is when Phantom Stranger reasons with Bruce Wayne and his decision making on Joker, and pretty much, and who basically killed his biological son. So he's pretty much, out of the way. And so whatever decision he makes, that will be his fate. So if this is out of Bruce's control, if it's out of his hands, then fate will play along with its story. Fate will play along with its ending. So as it was shown in the Batman Brave and the Bold, Bruce Wayne did beat up the guy, but he did not kill him. So after a while, you know, all the other villains turned on Joe Chill, and it pretty much killed him. You know, it pretty much killed him alone. All the rocks fell on top of his body. So this is what fate did to him. So since he made a wise decision, fate took him out himself. So in actuality, it wasn't that he was more chaos and Bruce was order. It was because that when the balance came to Bruce Wayne, chaos and order, it was him to make a decision to be chaotic or to be about order. And so if he chose chaos, then he will become chaos. And becoming chaos will send him into a whole new character. And then there will be someone else that will go against Bruce Wayne because he became chaos and take him out to restore order. And this is pretty much how it is. It's almost like it's repetitive. Well, actually, it is repetitive, but infinitely, the branch that holds the DC universe is isn't infinite. It's beyond infinity, and what it means to have this concept beyond infinity, it goes beyond the comprehensions. It goes beyond the comprehensions of the minds of the authors. So when they kind of got together and created the DC universe, they say, hey, we're going to write this comic book, and this comic book is going to have a balance throughout the entire omniverse. Why? Because this is the purpose of the entire DC universe. So, because of its sole purpose, it literally puts the reason and beyond the concept of the entire DC universe. It's not within creation, it's not the idea, it's really beyond that concept. Pennywise lives in infinity, okay, plus infinity. So, and it keeps going. In actuality, it's really repetitive. So, if you really look at it, the DC universe, the chaos and order is repetitive throughout the six planes of reality, but the foundation that holds the DC universe is beyond infinity. It's almost like it doesn't exist. So being beyond the comprehension of the artist and the author's mind means that this foundation, okay, is so big and it is so powerful that it balances, that it is the balance, and it is the balance, it is the reality, and it is the reason for the entire DC universe. And because it is outside of creation, it is beyond that concept, is beyond infinity. So, if this concept was to come within creation, of the DC, well, actually, it's already in there. So, anyways, didn't mean to get sidetracked right there. So, like, the concept is beyond infinity. It's beyond the Stephen King universe. Okay, literally, it's literally beyond the Stephen King universe. It's beyond Gan. It's like the whole point of the purpose, the reason, and pretty much everything about the DC universe, the foundation, the purpose, the reasoning, chaos, and order, it is beyond infinity. Beyond infinity. The foundation is beyond infinity. And being beyond infinity means, in actuality, it doesn't exist to the. Well, I don't mean like that. I got sidetracked. Bear with me. Not meaning that it doesn't exist to their reality, but there are other beings beyond the authors that exist in their reality. So their reality and our reality isn't real. To them, our reality is not real. Okay, so it pretty much talks about being beyond infinity. So infinite, if it's beyond infinite, then it's so big that it almost doesn't exist to the authors, and it doesn't exist to the DC universe. That's how big it is. But Pennywise, however, right? That's what I wanted to say. It's so big and it's so powerful that it does not, and to the minds of the authors and the minds of those that are within the creation of the DC universe, it doesn't exist. That's how big it is. It's so big that it almost seems that it doesn't exist because it's beyond infinity. But Pennywise, however, like to those, like he actually exists. Okay? Like the author himself, Stephen King, even said, like, okay, this guy's real. Okay, and if I don't write nothing to fight him, he can kill me. So they know that this guy exists. They know Gan exists because they talk about them. They talk about all of them. But this foundation in the DC universe is beyond infinity. That means it is so real. Like This is so real. Like, as I said to you before, it's beyond the comprehension of the DC universe, those that live and the authors themselves. So that means it almost seemed that it doesn't exist, but it does. It does. It actually does. So in actuality, um, Phantom Stranger is omnipotent, but he is bound by cosmic by the cosmic laws of chaos and order throughout the outside, further outside, further, it's past the author's world, past the writer's, past the writer's world, bro, past the writer's universe, bro, past their reality, dude. It's a reality so freaking big. It doesn't, it's almost like it doesn't exist. Like, this is how deep I was digging into the DC universe. I'm like, wow. So, in fact, that whatever this place is clearly bigger than the Stephen King universe in the DC. I mean, because it talks about being a balance in the DC universe. So whatever this place is, it's way bigger than the Stephen King universe, dude. Way bigger than the Stephen King universe. In case you may be wondering, well, what if it may be the creatures in the Stephen King universe? It's not. It's not. Because you got to understand that DC only has 6 planes of reality, dude. They only have 6 planes of reality. And having only 6 planes of reality, and all 3 of those planes are balanced by chaos and order. And I mean, like, it means that because there is a bigger reality that balance the author's reality and DC reality. Like, seriously. And at any given time, it can change the reality of DC, but then again, it can't, because that's the sole purpose of DC, is to have a balance in this reality. This is why it was explained that, this is why I said in an earlier video, Pennywise can't consume the DC universe, bro, because it has a balance. And this balance is going to balance Pennywise. And Pennywise is, even Gan, if Gan try to think he can destroy the DC universe, he's going to be balanced by the foundation that is bigger than the author, okay? That's bigger than the author's reality. That's bigger than DC's reality. That's bigger than the Stephen King's reality and their monsters' reality. Like, literally, this is even bigger than, like, yeah, it's literally even bigger than Gan's reality, dude. Literally. Because there's only 6 planes of reality, bro. But I'm gonna really be doing some more research into it, because they really said that you have to, like, read different comics, you know, uh and you gotta put the puzzles together. And still today, there's not one DC fan that is actually out there that have put these pieces together to find out what type of reality is this. Okay? What type of reality is this? Because it's like past the author's, it's literally past the author's reality. And not even that, it was even I've even, found out, only having 6 planes of reality and everything that happened throughout the book was even beyond its own reality. Like, dude. But anyways, like, back to the scale of omnipotence. um so Phantom Stranger is the omnipotent of the planet. Okay, so if he scales planetary, then he's only infinite at the his powers is infinite at the scale of the planet. But he is reason in between chaos and order. And being reason with chaos and order, it kind of does put him limited, but he actually isn't limited. He's only limited because his sole purpose is to be reason for the whole DC universe. Chaos, order, and then there's reason. and reason pretty much resolves chaos and order. So in actuality, Phantom Stranger is clearly really he's clearly beyond, like in this case he will be beyond the concept of the DC universe, because it goes back to what I said. Creation is, you know, creation itself is beneath the ideal of creation, and the ideal of creation is bigger than creation itself. Then um the concept of creation is bigger than the idea of creation. So by this, I'm gonna hit you with the peanut butter jelly recipe again. So you watch the TV show, right? And now that's the concept. And now you thought about peanut butter and jelly. You thought about a peanut butter jelly recipe. That's the ideal. You create a peanut butter jelly sandwich. That's the recipe. Now, what I'm trying to explain is that this thing that is bigger than the author's reality and bigger than its own reality is pretty much the purpose and the reason and the choice and the will of you deciding on, and your decision on making that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, of thinking of that whole concept, of like putting the concept in your head, creating it into an idea, and turning it into creation. So this kind of really honestly puts it down, because I know that looking at the DC universe, I said, well, the sole purpose is be like there's chaos, order, reason, and will. So, in this scenario, your decision is based off the will and the path and the choice you honestly made. Okay. And if your choice was chaos, then you will have, somewhere down the line, there will be order and there will be a balance. So I hope you guys really got that. But actually, I don't want to make it seem too hard, so I just want to break it down. Um, oh yeah, and Spectre's omnipotent to solar system. He's scaled throughout the entire solar system. In fact, actually, he's scaled to the universe of omnipotence. Okay, but his purpose, his will, and his reason is to have is vengeance, and his will is chaos. So those that cause more chaos than there should be order, chaos shall flee upon them. Will actually be afflicted upon them. Okay, so this was the whole purpose of chaos and order. So this universe goes really deep. In the author's universe, it goes deeper than that. In its own universe, it goes deeper than that. So I'm not talking about Pennywise. I'm talking about the place that is bigger than it's bigger than itself. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns, hit it below. This is pretty much for some people who don't understand DC and who pretty much don't understand power scaling. Because, again, Phantom Stranger is reason. He is the reason of the DC universe. He reasons between chaos and order, pretty much like Spectre. But Spectre is the spirit of vengeance, so he's more chaos than he is with reason. But he actually, oh, sorry about that. But he actually showed, I hate this phone, but he actually showed Batman what he will become. Batman was able to see what he will become if he did that. So that clearly shows you that this guy's omnipotent. Okay? Like, it wasn't even because of that. It's because of the scale of power he has. All his power is limitless, man. It's unlimited. And somebody having unlimited power that's pretty much only balanced by cosmic laws, it doesn't mean that they're not unlimited. Their powers become omnipotent. They actually have unlimited power, pretty much like Phantom Stranger. He has unlimited power when it's necessary, when it's actually necessary. Okay? And that's not to him, that's to the cosmic laws, to chaos and order. Those are to the laws that he is bound by. I haven't read the book that he was shot with the spear of destiny, so I'm gonna really start looking into that. But he is omnipotent, and he is the reason of the DC universe, and being the reason of chaos and order in the DC universe, which pretty much balance the six planes of reality. It kind of really puts Phantom Stranger within the ideal of the DC universe, which is above and bigger than the actual creation of the DC universe. So that kind of clearly really makes him um, omnipotent, but at a lower form of omnipotence because he is reason. And presence, in the presence, is clearly the he isn't the concept, but he would probably he's on the he's within the DC universe. Though he took a big part in creating everything, so he too will probably be in a in the higher form of the ideal of the DC universe. But I'll just really actually scale him to the concept. But the foundation will be the actual construct and the concept of the DC universe. So yeah, he'll fit right along with the whole concept of the DC universe. So he's one of the smallest pieces that balances the foundation of the DC universe. So clearly that kind of makes him omnipotent. And in actuality, everybody is limited in the DC universe, everybody, because of chaos and order. There has to be a balance. There could be no more good than there's evil, and there could be no more evil than there's good, because this balance makes up the entire reality. So, like I said, like any comments, uh, have any questions, concerns, I'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay. But these are pretty much for the people out there who pretty much don't understand the DC universe. So, uh, that's pretty much it. Um, if you guys, if there's anything else, hit me up. Peace.